Before you put a single sucker in the ground, you need to know exactly how much money you are dealing with. Today, I am breaking down every single cost of starting a pineapple farm in Ghana. And I'm doing this for two different locations because where you farm changes everything. Welcome back to the African Agripreneur. I'm Kinkonu Elizabeth. And on this channel, we don't do guesswork. We do real numbers, real experience, and real results. Today, we are talking about the cost of starting 1 acre of pineapple sugarloaf farming in Ghana. And I'm going to break it down for two locations. I personally work with Adeso Energy because the cost is not the same everywhere. And nobody tells you that. Let's start with Adeso. The first thing you need is land. And in Adeso, it will cost you 1,000 Ghana to lease an acre. Now, pineapple takes between 14 to 18 months to harvest. So you can't leave the land for a year, you have to leave it for 2 years, which will give us 2,000. After securing the land, other costs you incur is bush allowance. In our daily life, when you are going to rent a place, you pay something and it's called viewing fee, right? The same applies to land. When you are going to acquire land, before the person will show you the land, you call something bush allowance. We charge you for it. That's 100 for it. So after securing the land, the next thing you need to do is clear the land, right? You cannot plant your stackers on a bushy land. But mind you, it's not all the time that you will have to do. Some land are on virgin. Yeah, you heard me right. You have virgin land and on virgin, anyhow you call it. So virgin lands are lands that haven't been cultivated yet. Like there's nothing on it to show. It's some people call it forest or something like that. Yeah, those are the virgin lands. And the unvirgin ones are the ones that have been used for farming. So it's already cleared. That is your luck. There are disadvantages to both sides, disadvantage and advantage. We'll talk about that next time. So if the land is virgin, you would have to weed. We're not there, so we have 10 ropes on an acre. Each rope they charge 50 Ghana cedis. So the 50 cedis multiplied by 10 ropes, that will give us 500 cedis for an acre. The next thing is removing of stamps. Of course, if it's a forest, if it's a virgin land, there will be stamps on it. So you would have to clear the stamp. This price you are seeing right here, it's not fixed. It solely depends on how many stamps are on the land. So if the stamps are a lot, you are going to pay approximately 1,000 cedis. If it's not, you will pay less than that. Then we move to plowing. So after removing the stamps, you bend the bush, you bend the weeds. After burning everything, you plow. Plowing in Adeso costs 500 cedis. And it depends on the soil, right? If you are lucky and the person does the job well, you would have to plow just once. If not, you would have to plow twice. Another thing is harrowing. This one is optional, right? It only comes if the land is not level, meaning you would have to plow once and harrow once. The harrowing is to level the ground. So if the land is not leveled, you would have to do this. If not, this wouldn't be a cost. So from land to plowing or harrowing, we will call it land preparation. After doing that, the next thing you need to do is go get your stacker. A stacker is going for 30%. 20,000 stackers goes on an acre. So yeah, that will give us 6,000 cedis. Of course, when you buy, it doesn't end there. People need to load it into their car and offload it to the farm. And that will cost you 500 cedis if you are in Adeso. Transportation, yeah, the stackers wouldn't run or fly to your farm. You would have to transport it to your farm. So that will also cost you between 1,000 to 2,000 cedis, depending on the location, right? If it's very far from Adeso, of course, you are going to incur about 2,000, and if it's closer, it's 1,000. Then we move to the spreading and grading. When we say grading, we mean grouping them into the same sizes, right? So sometimes the stackers are not the same size, so you have to grade them. We have grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Some people just grade twice, just big and small. Others big, medium, small, right? So the grading in Adeso, grading in Adeso will cost you 300 cedis. And the spreading as well also costs you 300 cedis, making 600 Ghana cedis. Spreading, we spread the suckers on the farm so that it will be easy for the planters to just plant. All right. Now, after grading and spreading, the next thing is planting. In ADSO, the rate is flat. They charge 1,000 cedis for an acre. While they are planting, somebody needs to be there picking the rest to the next, to where they've not planted. Okay. And they charge 300 cedis for that. But the initial cost to cultivate an acre in ADSO will cost you 16,000 cedis. That's if you are plowing just once. But if you are plowing twice, then it will cost you 16,500. Now, with every, it will cost you 1,500 to use the land for a year. Mind you, you have to use it for 2 years. If you give out the 3,000, the bush allowance is the same. When it comes to weeding, a bush charges 800 cedis for weeding. You see the difference? ADSO is 500 cedis. A brie is 800 cedis. When it comes to removing of stumps, they charge 70 cedis per day. But then you can't use just one person, right? If you want them to finish the job in a day, you need like 5 or more workers, like depending on how many stumps are on the farm, which will cost you more. So they have a fixed price that you paying just like the weeding price, okay? That is 800 cedis. After that, we move to the plowing. Plowing costs 600 cedis in a brie. It's the same thing. Like I said, you have to plow twice if the land is not grown. Grading in a brie, they charge 300 cedis for 10,000 seconds. 20,000 will give us 600, which is there. And then the spreading is also per day. I did it per day, which is 70 Ghana cedis. And I'm assuming that you can use 3 people to do the work. 3 multiplied by the 70 will give us the 210. That is for the grading and spreading. You see the vast difference? Here you are spending about 810 on just spreading and weeding, whilst in others you are spending just 600. Then we move to planting. Plant 1,000 suckers, they charge 70 Ghana cedis. So when you multiply that by the number of suckers you are planting, it will give us 1,400. Let's do some comparison, okay? So in others, like I said, it's flat rate, and in a brie they charge 70 Ghana for planting 1,000. The disadvantage to this, to the other so is that you would have to be there because it's flat rate. Whether they plant 20,000 suckers exactly, whether they plant 1 sucker, you are still going to pay 1,000. So you need to be there. Make sure they planted the whole 20,000. Otherwise, you lose. But with a brie, because they count and you pay, they do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, they want their money, and you have to count before you pay them, right? So they do the right. That's the only disadvantage and advantage between these two. Then we move to picking. For picking, others, a brie, they don't do picking. The people planting, they themselves will remove the remaining suckers in them and between them like that. And you know, so in total, you are going to spend 16,910 when you are planting in a brie. Mind you, I didn't bring the times 2 of the plowing, meaning if you are going to plow twice, you will have to add the 600 cedis, which will give us 10. So in a brie, if you have to plow twice, your initial cost will be 17,510. Now, this is not the total cost. This is just the initial cost. And based on my calculation, you need about 25,000 to cultivate an acre in ADSO, and 30,000 cedis to cultivate an acre in a brie. The question everybody really came here for: how much can you make? And my honest answer is, it depends. Not on the farm, not on the variety. It depends on when you have it. Pineapple is a seasonal crop. If you harvest when pineapples are abundant in the market, when everyone is harvesting at the same time, the price drops. In that situation, you're looking at about 60 to 70% profits. Not bad, but not great either. But if you plan your planting so that you harvest during the dry season, when pineapples are scarce, you can make over 100% profits on your investments. This is the part that most people miss. They focus on the cost of planting, but the real money is in the timing. When you plant determines when you harvest, and when you harvest determines how much you make. This is exactly why I offer consultation, because these decisions need strategy, not guesswork. So there you have it, the full cost breakdown of 1 acre of sugarloaf pineapple farming in Ghana, both Adesso and Ebro. Now my question to you, if you have the chance to farm in either Ebri or Adesso, where would you choose and why? Leave it in the comment section. I read every single one.